Welcome back to Good Day Columbia, the Tireless Travels team in Windsor, South Carolina. We're smack dab in the middle of about 5,000 acres worth of land here on the Walther farm. Chances are if you had potato chips for lunch yesterday, you may have actually eaten a Walther potato. How about that, Jeremy Walther? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us out, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I guess I never really realized, I think of like Idaho potato chips and things. I guess I never really thought about the fact there might be South Carolina potato chips.
Yeah, we're just starting out here this year and excited to be here.
So you were on a TV commercial. Were you actually on the commercial?
No, that was a couple of my cousins.
All right, the cousins.
Yep.
Family-owned farm. How many kin do you actually have?
There's 9 of us involved right now.
Good gosh, 9 for how many farms?
We've got 8 different farms.
In how many states?
8 states.
So 8 people. You got 1 per state.
More and less. Yep.
Kin.
Yep. There's myself and 3 of my brothers and 5 cousins. We're 3rd generation.
So you're talking 8 farms full of potatoes.
Yep.
That's all you do is potatoes.
That's all we do. Well, this year we're trying out a few sweet potatoes.
Okay. Variation on a familiar term, as they say.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
How long has the family been farming potatoes?
Since the 40s.
Wow. So a minute or two, as the kids say.
Yeah, a little bit.
So you're what, 3rd generation then?
Yep, I'm 3rd generation. Now we actually have 4th generation coming back into the business. They're finishing up college and coming back now.
Wow. Good gosh. So where did you guys start then in 8 states? Obviously you're new to South Carolina?
Yep, we started in Michigan, and as the family grew and more people come back to the farm, we needed to spread out a little bit, and that's what landed us here.
Now we're talking potatoes, where they go. Obviously, we talked about potato chips. You guys obviously supply potatoes to a lot of the companies.
Yep. If you eat potato chips, you're probably eating our potatoes at some time throughout the year. And we also grow packaging potatoes, bacon potatoes, reds, yellows. So things from the store, we sell to them also.
What's your favorite kind of potato? Is it mashed potato? Is it baked potato?
Probably a red or a yellow.
Red or yellow? What's the difference?
They taste better.
The red or yellow taste better than the regular white, boring ones?
Yep.
Mashed potatoes, lumps or no lumps?
Lumps. Gotta have lumps.
Potato expert here. We're talking to Jeremy Walther, the Walther Farms. 5,000 acres, right? Is that?
Yeah, we've got about 3,000 under cultivation and 5,000 in total. We've got a lot of food plots and buffer strips between us and the river, and also some conservation easements for the wildlife.
Well, we're going to be talking about that, learning about actually production of potatoes, how it gets from the farm, literally from right here in the ground, to our bag of potato chips, or maybe on our Thanksgiving Day table, and eventually into our bellies. Here, right from the farm, right to us, seeing the whole circle of life, we like to call it here on the Farming Eye for the City Guy in Windsor, South Carolina. Guys, just take a look at this. We're going to come back in a little bit, but good gracious, that is America. All right, guys, the Tireless Travels team, we are smack dab in the middle of Windsor, South Carolina. In fact, go ahead and pinprick it even more, smack dab in the middle of 5,000 acres of a potato farm. It's the Walther potato farm here in Windsor. Chances are, if you had potato chips for lunch yesterday, French fries last night with dinner, this guy could have probably maybe had his hands on it. Maybe not your particular potato, but certainly the potatoes for sure. Jeremy Walther, man, this is amazing. So much land. You come out here and you just see forever.
Yep. Yep, a lot of ground, and this year we'll have about 850 acres of potatoes here in Windsor, and the rest of it will be corn, and looking at some other rotation crops also.
Wow. Well, we talked earlier, a couple minutes ago, a few minutes before the break there, about how you go ahead and start preparing the land. And if you know anything about farming, whether you do it like in your own little garden at home or on a larger scale, you got to till the land. Yep. And when I was growing up, I had a little rototiller. But I would be about 1.5 years to till this. So you guys use that machine, right? What is that?
Yep, that's a field cultivator. So he's coming across the ground right now, tilling it about, I'd say 8-10 inches deep. And that loosens the soil up and preps it for the potato planter.
Now, something, guys, you might find interesting is, although that is a man tractor, he's actually not doing much driving in there. Technology is a humongous part of farming today. It's not just the old farm in the overalls you think of in Norman Rockwell paintings. You guys, this is a high-tech redneck operation, right?
Yep, that's right. That's right. So the tractors, all the tractors that we use run off a GPS, RTK GPS. So the tractor there is sub-inch accurate. So when the operator gets to the end of the field, he turns around. Once he's 45 degrees into his next pass, he hits a button, and the tractor takes over from there and steers all the way to the other end, which allows the operator to watch his machine, whether it's the tillage or the planter, a lot better, and also helps on fatigue. The guys can, get through a 10 or 12-hour day without falling asleep at the wheel.
Sure. I mean, it can be a bit tedious, I would think, just staring down rows and rows. The other cool thing that's very technologically advanced actually is going to be your irrigation system. If you ever see these guys, in a lot of farms here you drive through in South Carolina, you see these great big apparatus. This is another thing that you guys use your iPads in farming.
Yep. So the irrigation systems, we have the ability on this farm to to run the entire farm or every irrigation system from our iPad or iPhone remotely from anywhere in the country. As long as we have an internet connection, we can monitor them, start them, stop them, speed them up, slow them down, change application rates, set in-gun settings, pretty much anything that you can do there at the control panel, we can do it from a remote location now.
Now let me ask you a question. I won't share it with you guys. You ever like log on to one of the tractors and just mess with them to see if they're awake?
What?
Turn it to the left, that kind of thing? I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe monitor the guys. I don't know. We've never played with them quite that bad, but...
Be like an old Atari game. Oh yeah, let's go left a little bit. Let's see who's paying attention, right?
I like your idea.
Huh? I'm full of them, or full of it, one or the other. I'm not sure, guys. But we're talking about farming, obviously potato farming today on Farming Eye for the City Guy. And with 8 farms across the country, one great big one right here, a brand new one in South Carolina. You certainly have a footprint on the potato industry. Anybody who likes a potato, like I said, probably has something to do with this guy and his family, for sure. So we got this. Of course, the next step is going to be seeding. We're going to look at that as well and learn a little more about the economic imprint that we have here in South Carolina, thanks to our farmers, the guys who actually work the land to feed our bellies. Stay with us. Good Day Columbia is coming back. See, I could make him go like left. It'd be so much fun. Just like, All right, guys, the Tyler's Travels team, we are learning about farming from the eyes of farmers to us city guys. And we're in Windsor, South Carolina on the Walther potato farm, getting ready to actually see what they do when they're actually seeding the ground that'll eventually become potatoes. Jeremy Walther here. Explain this machine to me.
So what you're seeing right now is we're coming through the field, and you can see there's a shoe on the bottom that opens the ground up in a V shape.
Okay.
It's going about 6-8 inches deep. Then these little red cups here come up and around and get 1 seed piece per cup.
Right.
As it turns over, the seed piece falls on the next cup, goes down and drops them in the soil. Then you have 2 closing discs that cover them up, about 5 inches deep. That's all there is to it.
And so these actually aren't potatoes. We're looking at, it appears to be potatoes, but these are actually the seeds for the spuds.
Yep, those are seed potatoes. So those have been on the seed farm for 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Depending on variety, we start with nuclear seed, or it comes out of a greenhouse. That's in potato terms, it's called nuclear seed. But that'll be grown on the seed farm for 3 to 4 years to get it to a point of generation 3 to 4 where we can afford to plant it in a commercial aspect.
Now, I guess you don't count potatoes, but in your 5,000 acres, 3,000 farmable acres you have here in Windsor, what's your production level do you see?
We would hope to get around 15 to 20 tons per acre.
Okay.
Of harvestable crop. What we're planting right now is we plant about 1 ton to the acre.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of potatoes, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of potatoes. And how long is this in the ground before you actually go and harvest the potatoes back out?
From what we're doing here till the point of harvest, these will be about 110 to 120 days.
So that's a real quick gestation period then.
Yep.
You're talking still a few months.
Yep, we'll be done harvesting. We harvest in June and July, and after that we're finished. The rest of the ground will be used for rotation crops or cover crops.
I got you. Wow, this is fascinating stuff, man. So these guys here, these tractors, how long is it going to take them? You're looking, how far is that? That's what, 20 acres that way? 10 acres?
This field here is a 120 acre field.
Okay. So how long is it going to take like one tractor to actually go ahead and seed this whole field?
If we have a good day, we can plant about 50 acres a day in a 12-hour shift.
Wow. Wow. Here you go, guys. Here it is. It starts right here. All the potatoes you have in your potato chips at Christmas dinner, at Thanksgiving table, wherever you have your potatoes. Chances are they come maybe from South Carolina, and most certainly going to be a Walther potato as well. Jeremy Walther here. We're learning about the farming of potatoes and the full impact in the circle of life, as we call it here in Farming Eye for the City Guy, where it comes from the ground, literally, from the ground covered in dirt to our tables and our bellies, just like that, guys. Stick around. There's a lot more coming from Windsor, South Carolina on Good Day Columbia. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This Farming Eye for the City Guy, the Tyler's Travels team in Windsor, South Carolina, and the home of the 5,000 footprint here in the town, which is the Walther Potato Farm, Jeremy Walther. So we've talked about tilling the land, we talked about seeding the taters, and now we got to pick them back out of the ground so they can come into my belly, right?
Yep.
And use this big dog daddy. What is this?
Yep, so this is a potato digger, or a potato harvester.
Okay.
And what we do is once the potatoes are grown and healthy and mature, we come through with this machine, and there's a series of belted chains. So as you can see in the front of there's a blade which goes in the ground underneath the potatoes about 6-7 inches,
okay,
or underneath the top of the ground, I should say. they'll come up this first chain, which we call a primary, into the secondary chain. Then they come up and around and follow this chain around. There's a truck that moves right beside the harvester right here as we're going. And this elevator here goes up and down. It's a boom, which feeds everything into the truck.
In the truck, and you can haul that away.
Yep, so we haul those up to a central location on the farm, which we call our line. And at that line, we go through a small washing and grading process. And then the potatoes go into the truck from there.
Just like that, and you ship them on out
into semis, van trailers, and reefers.
Into the production.
Yep.
Outstanding, good. Now, did somebody, is this pulled, or somebody drive this thing from up top here?
Nope, this is pulled by a tractor. We don't have it hooked up to a tractor right now. We're a few months off, but yep, this will be pulled by a tractor during harvest.
Now, this is pretty high speed. You can dig in. Was there a time when folks actually had to harvest potatoes by hand?
Yeah.
Whew. Just dig in, hoping to find.
Yep, they'll go through, actually, in third world countries, they still do a lot of harvest by hand.
Right.
And they'll come through with a disc or a plow that just rolls them up on top of the ground.
Okay.
Then they come through and put them in buckets.
Somebody's come along and scoop them
dump them into sacks and haul them away. I've seen it in a few other countries.
You know, it reminds us of I remember the Rawl farm. We went out to college, and people have to hand pick those things all day long. You don't have a fancy machine for that. You got to actually have human bodies, which is great because that creates jobs as well.
Yep.
That's a whole other piece of the economic circle of life we have when it comes to farming and getting that from the ground up into our bellies and our stores. So this is great stuff, man. I really appreciate it. Welcome to South Carolina. This is good stuff.
Thank you very much.
5,000 acres
to be here.
Windsor. You gotta love South Carolina. Summer's gonna be hot. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, coming from Georgia, I know.
It's gonna be toasty. But next time you have a potato chip, a potato stick, I don't care what it is, think of Jeremy Walther and his family, because they probably had something to do with the potato you're eating. Guys, a lot more information for you at watch.com as well. Stick around. There's more Good Day coming up too. Well, we are road tripping, I guess you can say, with Tyler Travels, all the way down in Windsor, South Carolina. I grew up in Windsor, Vermont, which is kind of a fun little tie. We're talking about potatoes. Who doesn't love a good French fry or a good potato chip? That is for sure. Martin Eubanks.
How are you this morning, Tyler? Good to see you. Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Man, this reminds me of home, sort of. I mean, I don't think we even have a farm this big at home. But I certainly growing up on a farm, it's very cool.
It's quite an operation, quite an operation.
I love it, but with farming, of course, is the economic impact. I mean, you grow potatoes, we got to eat them, that's for sure, but there's a lot more than just the spud that these guys are creating here in Windsor.
Well, the creating opportunity, I think, is we saw a family farm come into the community, design a farm, build everything around a great model. They had basically a basic flat blueprint. Create that model, and it creates further opportunities as we move forward. Opportunities for packing facilities, all sorts of other economic potential out there for not only this farm but for the local community and the state as a whole.
And that's great. You're coming down here in these small little towns. A farm like this, it can be a lifeblood. You get several farms together. It can be a lifeblood for the local economy as well.
Absolutely.
The other thing that's great, with the Walther farm also is the worrying about the environment. And it's not just laying down the old mantra, pave the earth.
Right.
It's not that mantra.
Well, and that's what we love to see as you look at not only Walther farms but other farms around the state of South Carolina. They were in a very unique opportunity here. Basically a flat blueprint, and they were able to come in and design a farm. And I guarantee you, this is one of the greenest farms that one will find anywhere in the region, state. They have it going on. They've come in and done all the things they need to do in terms of the low pressure irrigation. How they manage the design of the farm, the buffers around the area and the region for wildlife, for the natural resources.
Right.
Over 120 acres of just food plots.
Wow, that's so much space.
Absolutely, and then the farm itself. There's a model farming operation surrounded by natural resources and wildlife easements. So they're not only about growing potatoes to feed us, but it's also about managing those natural resources around us.
Sure.
And I think that's important for everybody to recognize that we do have farmers that are producing, but they're the first environmentalists, as the way I always heard it, and they are concerned about those natural resources that are out there.
Raise up the Walther farm. Next time you open a bag of potato chips, you probably are eating something maybe that came from South Carolina. How about that, Mr. Eubanks? Appreciate your time this morning. We're going to continue on learning about the potato industry and how you farm here on the Walther farm. Remember that TV commercial they did? Might have seen them. It's kind of cool. Check it out. Anyway, we got a lot more Good Day Columbia on the way. Stay with us. Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Farm Eye for the city guy. We've been down in Windsor, South Carolina all morning at the Walther Potato Farm, 5,000 acres, 3,000 acres of actual farm land, and really learned about the footprint that the Walther family is creating here in Windsor, and frankly all South Carolina, with the print of the land that they can actually farm, but then they've got the whole system around that is actually protecting the environment. Lonnie Reichert from Lexington Farm City. It takes a whole lot of technology to actually plan that out and plot that. They didn't say, let's just take them trees out and plant some taters.
That's right. There's a very big plan that goes in place. Walther Farms, and I know Mr. Eubanks commented about how they were fortunate and kind of had a blank sheet and planned this all out from the get-go, and they've done an awesome job, at bringing in technology to do everything, but keeping the environment protected, preserving the wildlife, food plots, conservation. It's unbelievable.
And I know we've explored this before, but part of the mission, of course, of Lexington Farm City is to really connect the farmers, the folks who are in the fields, actually doing the work, getting the food to our tables. And when I go to Walmart or Bilo, wherever I go to buy my collards and of course my potatoes, really kind of connect that together. And you have that illusion of a farmer, the hayseed coming out and the Oshkosh bagosh is on. That we're talking about, like on this farm, we're talking about remote controls from your iPad to control all the irrigation system for 7 acres that way. You've got GPS and the tractors. The guys can actually sit back for a second and take a breather. There's a lot of technology.
There's a lot of technology that goes into, and then technology has to increase and improve to be able to feed the growing population. There's less and less people who are producing the food that we eat, and we have to be able to do it.
But yet there's more and more people. Supply and demand.
Yes.
Supply and demand doesn't seem to work. That math does not work.
No, it doesn't. It does not work at all. It doesn't work. But our committee, the Farm City Committee, our purpose is to bring that awareness to everybody, what it takes at the farm and city, depend on each other, and we need each other, and what all goes into it.
Sure. I mean, and like you saw, even though there's GPS and the tractors and you can control an irrigation system from an iPad, there are still a lot of bodies, a lot of people that have to touch and actually do a lot of the work still by hand. There's nothing, you can't just go, there's my potatoes. I mean, you've got to have people that know how to work the land, have a passion for it, because farming is not a 9-to-5 job. You've got to love this life if you're going to be a farmer.
It's a way of life for certain, and it's most people, it's what you're born to do, it's in your blood, and you're going to do it till you die.
You die out in the field somewhere if you're doing it right.
That's right.
Lonnie Reichert, Lexington Farm City. Of course, we're going to put a lot of links for you at watch.com. Some links, of course, to the Walther Farm and agriculture in general. Some interesting stats and facts you can find. As well, I learned a lot about potatoes. Had no clue what a big footprint they actually make in the economics of not only South Carolina but nationally. But great stuff. We're going to put links up for you at watch.com. Well, until next time, I'm going to go ahead and hang up my overalls and my Carhartt jacket and head back to the city for this farming guy. Right. Stick around. There's a lot more Good Day Columbia on